Welcome to the Masculine Revolution, hosted by Jeremy Brown and myself, Murphy G. This is episode number 60. We got the great Alan Black in here with us, and Jackson as well, up with us early morning. Shout out to Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Starting the day off right.
Yeah, man. First podcast of the year. Excited to be here.
Yeah, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. That's right. Yeah, man. Excited. Yeah, I guess, Jeremy, you want to kind of bring us into it this morning?
Yeah, so we were just going to kind of hit on a few things on this year. But before we kind of do that, New Year's always present the discussion of goals, and so kind of just wanted to touch on that a little bit. I'm not a big New Year resolution kind of person, but I am a goal person. But it doesn't necessarily revolve around the new year. But I know for a lot of people it does. So I kind of wanted to just ask the question with goals being the topic. What for you, like what do you have to do to accomplish goals that you set?
Yeah, let's see. So this year in particular. So as far as I guess we could talk about this. I don't know. I've been thinking about what is the difference between resolution and New Year's resolution and then just having goals in general.
Yeah. And
maybe that's just a play on words with the time of the year and all that. But I know for me, I don't think my goals have necessarily changed in the past couple of years. But this year I've done more about action steps of all right, something is a goal, and then the goal is written out, but then past that, how I actually plan to execute that.
Yeah.
And I think in the past, and even just thinking back, with goals that I've had, the end result is what I'd write down, but not necessarily how I see
obtaining it.
Yeah, how I see to get there.
Yep.
And so this year I've which I started a little bit last year with journaling and stuff like that, but I've been trying to keep track of my mindset as far as how I'm focusing on moving towards that. Mm-hmm. And so with the journaling and stuff, it's just more of trying to recap my day to, I guess, take account of, all right, actually what happened today, and not just, and I haven't been perfect with it, but I'm hoping that that'll help.
Yeah.
Just with a clear vision for what I'm doing, I guess. But yeah, I mean, for me particularly, this year, I've written down action steps of how I see that happening. Because I think, I mean, even for myself, it's easy to write down hey, I want to lose weight this year, or hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm going to go on more vacations this year. I'm going to do this. But without, planning it out, it's kind of more of a wish than a goal,
Yeah.
And that's what I felt with my own self in the past is how can I make that happen? Besides just saying, yeah, I mean, that's something I want to do, So, yeah, for me, I think it's just been the writing of the action steps and trying to map out, all right, how can I actually get to that point?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. I think to obtain goals, you have to structure, whatever that goal may be. You have to put a plan together, and then execute on it, daily or weekly or whatever, depending on whatever the goal is. But structure is huge. I think sometimes we can just have that goals can turn into these lofty ideas,
Right.
You can just take the example of hey, I want to do a date night once a month,
Yeah.
Well, do you have it on your calendar, and do you have a reminder set to be able to have a discussion with your wife to say, hey, let's plan on where we're going on what night,
Yeah.
and then the more details that you get put down on paper with it, the more likely it is to happen. But if you just write it down on a list, go on a date night once a month or twice a month, whatever it is, with your wife or your husband, or your girlfriend or boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't write it down, chances are life's going to interfere. And it's not that you don't want to go. It's just, you get distracted and time's stolen from you. And then the next thing you know, that particular month's gone and you didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like you got to put these little steps, which sounds very elementary, when you say it out loud. But then you look at it in your own life and you're like, dang, how often do I not do that, with specific things that I want to accomplish. And I think that in a time where that we're living in, where your time literally can be it can just flash by and you didn't do anything that you wanted to. It takes a lot of the, what's the, hot word, intentionality. It seems like that word gets used a lot these days, but I think that it takes that.
Yeah.
And that structure is important. What are some tactics that you use for like staying focused on those action steps?
Let's see. I think that's what, like, for me, journaling and then writing them down, and it gives me that checklist, something to reference back to, like, kind of scale like how I'm doing. You know what I mean? As far as, that's my hope, anyways. I mean, it's the third week of January, so I mean, some of this stuff is like I'm literally trying out this year, but I'm just saying, speaking from past experience, there's some goals that I wrote down at the top of 2025 that I didn't even wind up working on this year. And it's just because of what you said. It's just like you get busy and you're doing stuff, and then it just kind of slips away. Mm-hmm. Not to say it wasn't important or anything like that, but it was just when it's not in front of your face, you kind of, seem to forget about it, or let it slide to the back or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that, and just, making the list. I'm hoping that the journaling will also keep that on the forefront.
How has that been? Has that been difficult to do every day?
Sometimes I feel dumb doing it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, and I'm still trying to figure out, like, what all I should put in there. You know what I mean? And so it's not like deep dark secrets or anything like that, but it's more of like, I just kind of want to recap my day. You know what I mean? That way I can kind of look back on it. And part of that too is just like, it's so weird because I'll have like little snapshots of stuff from when I'm like 4 or 5 years old, but then you ask me about something that happened a month ago, and I'm like, I can't really necessarily recall exactly how that went down. And so I've been trying to just do that better so I can, work on my cognitive function as well.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels silly at times, but, I'm hoping that it'll pay off in the long run.
Yeah, I've done it I've done it off and on over the years, but honestly, it's not something that I've necessarily done like consistently for like years on end. You know what I mean? Like, it's usually like, okay, I'm going to do this for a little bit, and I do it like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then there'll be a 4-month gap, and then I'll do it again. You know, it is wild though to go back and read through some of that stuff, because you just see, man, like, I think the biggest identifier I've experienced through doing that, when I have done it, is that like so many things seem like a big deal in the moment when you're writing it, and then you fast forward into the future and you're reading back on it and you're like, dang, that wasn't that big of a deal, It kind of just passed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny to just read through those things, and see that. But I have a tendency where I do a lot every day, and so like sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna start journaling, because you get on, you hear guys like Andrew Huberman and stuff like that talking about how healthy it is for your brain, and then I realized, like, I have realized and learned where it's like I've got to prioritize what works for me
Yeah.
and not force it. And so I think that's where journaling's kind of following me, where like I'm not an awesome communicator with words, and so like when I start writing it down, I'm like, and then I go back and I read on it. It's like, man, I'm like dumb.
That's what I'm afraid that I'm gonna read back and be like, what was I even talking about?
That's what happened to me. So I don't know
Yeah.
that the motivation for that for me has been like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to reveal that if
Yeah.
somebody finds this one day and be like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I definitely don't plan on publishing any of it. So
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I mean that's been my thoughts too of going. I'm like, this is kind of silly, but I just wanted to try something new this year
Yeah, that's good, man.
to kind of help out with keeping things on the forefront of my mind and moving with intentionality. Hot word.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just wanting to do a different approach. There might be some moments with my kids that I wind up writing down that I might have missed out on, or don't remember or whatever. Maybe I can look back on that and be like, man, I'm glad I wrote that down, or little moments like that. So I'm excited for that part of it. My dad is journals like religiously, like does it every day, I guess habitually or whatever. So I've just been I would like to get to that point where I could do it every day, but some days I just, by the time you get to a point where you're winding down, where you're like, all right,
Yeah,
I can
you're
write,
just exhausted.
Like, actually, I'm just gonna go to bed. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, one thing I wanted to, I guess, say as an encouragement, which I don't know why this became a trend, but to all the people who talk junk about people with the New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. Just keep it to yourself, man. Be encouraging. I don't care how many times you got to start over. Just it doesn't matter. It's like one of the things that annoys me about this time of year is all the cynical people like, oh, nobody want to hear that new year, new you stuff. It's like, man, just be supportive of somebody, man. It's a lot easier just to be supportive of somebody. So if you are one of those people that's like, hey, I put this on my list 2 years ago and still haven't done it, just keep trying, because like I said, there's some stuff at least one or two things that I wrote down for 2025 that I didn't even touch. You know what I mean?
Right.
And at the end of the day, so what? I mean, keep trying at it. So that was one thing. What's the difference, do you think, between a resolution and a goal?
I don't know. Look up the definition.
Yeah, it's a good. I was wondering that, like, what defines a resolution versus a goal?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm unsure. Let's see what the almighty Google says.
Chat GPT.
Oh, almighty Chat GPT. Then.
So
it's shifting.
What did I say? Resolution. Okay. So resolution and a goal are related, but they're not the same thing. The difference mostly comes down to intent versus structure. Okay. Resolution, a decision or commitment to change behavior or mindset, often broad and value-based, focuses on how you want to be, not just what you want to achieve. Example, I'll be healthier this year. I resolved to be more patient. Think of a resolution as a direction or guiding principle. A goal, a specific, measurable outcome you want to reach, has clarity, steps, and usually a deadline. Focuses on what you want to accomplish. Example, I will work out 4 times a week for 30 minutes. I want to lose 15 pounds by June.
Okay. So resolution would be like the concept, and then the goal would actually be the action steps.
Yeah. So I want to be healthier this year. Resolution, I'm going to work out 4 times is the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, or how I guess how you want to accomplish that.
Yeah.
Resolution.
There you go. Learn
cool.
something every day.
That makes sense though. Right on par for the new year, new me. If I'm gonna change my guiding principles,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I think the latest thing that I've heard, and I'm sure there's data out there that you can either tell me I'm wrong on or I'm right with, but the latest number I heard was like New Year's resolutions on average people last about 9 days. So January 9th is the shutdown.
Man.
I think that the critic side of it, that's where that comes from, where it's just like, does it mean anything, or is it just like, okay, it's a new calendar year, so I'm gonna, do something. But that's the encouragement side that you're saying is like, if you make a New Year's resolution, attach some goals to it.
Yeah.
And put some structure, put some legs up underneath it and let it come to life. So that you can kind of follow a plan instead of just like, hey, I want to be healthier.
Yeah.
And let that just be a tick item on a list, You got to put together a plan on it.
Yeah. And too, I mean, we've talked about this too before about if you're wanting to make some major changes in your life, like realistically, it's hard to go from 0 to 100. You know what I mean? And so that's why for me, it's like I feel like a lot of people get lost in the fact that they can't completely be like, let's say, hey, I'm gonna eat better or whatever it is, and then they like have a meal where they eat terrible. Well, instead of just saying, dang, I missed that, the next meal I'll be back on point, it's like, I knew I couldn't do it. And those are the people that I want to say, like, it's all right. Like, just catch it on the next meal.
Yeah.
Like,
in fact, build some splurges into your plan.
Yeah.
Last night I had a big old bowl of Moose Tracks, baby. It was delish.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's not my normal.
Right.
And so that's how, like, I guess you could say I justify it. You know what I mean? But 90% of the time I'm not eating bowls of ice cream.
Yeah.
In the evenings. You know what I mean? So when I do, it's like, oh yeah, this is delicious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But build that into it. I mean, it's all right. Now if the pendulum has swung all the way over here and like ice cream is a problem,
Yeah.
probably not good to build it in there. You know what I mean? So be cautious of that. But if you're within the parameters of some self-control and you go 3 weeks and you've been eating clean and you feel great and you want to have something sweet, have something sweet, you know? But then get back on it, get back on it immediately when that's done. Like, don't create a habit of that, but have it, enjoy it, move on. You know what I mean? I think sometimes I know I can. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I can be a little too hard on myself. Where sometimes I beat myself up too much in my own head on like, making a mistake. It's just like, okay, and so I've gotten better with it. Where I'm like, all right, I am human. And I'm not going to say that whatever I'm disappointed in. I'm not saying that it's right, you know what I mean? But I'm also not going to beat myself over the head over, like, totally derail me off the path just because of one, a mistake that I made or a failure that I experienced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So build those little things in there, just to be prepared for life, because it ain't going to go like you want it to, like, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally it works out where you're like, man, that was fantastic, but life happens, man.
Yeah.
You can put together plans. I know, professionally, we put together schedules and plans all the time, and at the end of the conversation, we always say, okay, that probably ain't going to happen, but that's what we're going to strive for.
Right.
And then along the way, we make adjustments with whatever happens. Okay, let's bob and weave here because this isn't going as we hoped or planned,
Yeah.
but it's not going to derail us from the mission,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, for me, the perfect example is like, I mean, playing basketball, and you can see it like in the league that we're in. You know, sometimes, I mean, the refs are human, you know, and sometimes they're going to let stuff go and they're going to miss a call, maybe a foul or whatever. And it's like, you can always see the shift in people when they go to start worrying about, come on, ref, you missed that call. Then you know what? They go down on the other end of the court and they make a terrible defensive play and the team scores. And now it's like start stacking on itself. So what the point of what I'm saying is just play the next play. Like if you miss a shot or don't get the call or whatever, you just got to play the next play. If you sit there and try to argue with the ref or start, you know, jiving with the people, it's like you're going to wind up getting out of your game. And so the same for me, that's kind of like my same mentality towards goals is like, I'm not perfect. I might eat terrible one day or whatever. I might make the wrong call or might not do what I, you know, spend too much money today or whatever it is. It's like, but tomorrow is a new day. And so start over as many times as you need. Don't worry about, you know, that's just my biggest thing is like, you know, you should encourage people when they're saying they want to make a change, not the other way around.
Yeah.
And if you're in that seat and you're trying to make a change and you get off track a little bit, it's all right. Just start again. Again. You know, pick back up. And because I mean, even if you were to start again 100 times in a year, like those are 100. That's 100 times that you chose to do the right thing. You know, and maybe next year you'll do that 200 times. You know, so like we talk about, just building on your success. You know, like building blocks. I think that's important. You know, and just stay in that zone. Don't beat yourself up to where you take yourself out of the game. Like I've seen it happen so many times where, you know, guy doesn't get a call and he starts, you know, chirping with the ref, and next thing you know, the team goes up by 10. Mm-hmm. And you still in your head wondering about that mm-hmm. last call that you missed, you know.
Well, and then you also sitting there in the seat where you're like, it's because of that call.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's like just move on, man, and play ball, or, you know, or do whatever it is that you're doing. You know, just play the next play, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that future and that past can play a major role in getting you off track.
Yeah.
You know, the anxiousness that can be associated with it.
For sure.
So, yeah, this year the podcast, you know, you and I were talking about how, you know, we were hoping maybe to have some engagement from some folks, listeners wise, chiming in on maybe throwing some topics out there that they would want to hear discussed. We also got 2 guys jumping in with us that'll be hopefully doing kind of an additional episodes that I'm super excited about. Both of them have been on here, Matt and James. They're going to be putting together some things. So I'm excited to see, you know, what God's got for us this year. Yeah. And hopefully we can continue to kind of just spark some thoughts in guys' heads, and listen to our perspectives. Not that they're, you know, right or higher or anything like that. We're just 2 normal guys having some conversations. But you know, those conversations, I hope, inspire thinking outside the box, you know, a little bit. If you're, you know, just stuck in a singular rhythm here of seeing life a particular way. So I'm pumped, man. I'm excited. Yeah. What you excited about this year?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, dude, I'm so pumped for Matt and James and the episodes they're going to be doing. So hopefully we'll be bringing y'all 2 episodes a month, you know, with Masculine Revolution. One will be me and Jeremy, like we've been doing, and then James and Matt will be doing their own. And they're going to be thinking a little bit outside the box with their episodes, so that'll be cool to kind of see what they come up with. Super pumped for them. Their first will be coming soon. And 2, like, you know, if you're listening to this, we definitely, if y'all would, in the comments or just send it to us personally, like people y'all would like to see on here, or, you know, topics you'd like to hear us cover or discuss, you know, that's what it's all about. We, you know, we try to do stuff that we feel is beneficial for, you know, anybody who's listening, encouraging, you know, any of those subjects. We don't shy away from anything. I don't feel like so, but I'm excited for the new year. Excited to see what will happen. Would love if y'all, if you're listening and you know would like to get involved with us, just come up and talk to us, man. I mean, we're trying to, we love to see the team grow and see what we can accomplish together. So yeah, I'm super hopeful and, you know, excited to see where this year takes us. You know, but. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this new year. That's the honest truth about it.
Yeah, hey, this is what year for us? This is year 6?
Yeah, I believe so.
Year 6.
Yes, year 6 of doing this.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
I know you sent me a picture the other day of, or about what, 4 years ago?
4 years ago.
Yeah.
We were posted up in the office.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah, that's cool to see. You know, I mean, our hope for this, is really just creating some content to show, you know, men that, hey, like, we're just normal guys like everybody else.
Yeah.
But we're trying to be intentional, trying to set goals consistently, working toward, you know, becoming more like Jesus, number one, and then everything that ripples out of that, you know. And so just trying to encourage, you know, guys and women, you know, but obviously our primary goal is men.
Yeah.
But just trying to encourage and spark some thoughts, you know, to say, hey, don't settle for average.
Right.
You know, average is nothing wrong with it, but God created us to be more, you know, and so like, let's get motivated, you know, and you don't have to look like somebody else exactly. Like, you know, you can have attributes that you're striving for that you see in other people, but I mean, you're you, and God created you to be, to make an impact with your gifts and talents that He gave you specifically for that reason.
Yeah.
And if you're not trying to discover that, and you're just going through the motions of what life can throw you, with work and family, friends, you know, and you just it's just this revolving door, you know, there's more.
Yeah.
You know, there's more. But, you know, one thing that I'm kind of really learning here recently is like success, to be successful, or what you deem successful, you know, because that definition can be different across the board from,
I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah. But if you want to just say, hey, like whatever your definition of success is, like success isn't necessarily really that flashy. It's actually kind of like on the boring side, because to be successful, you've got to be consistent.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. And just like the principle of, you know, money, and it compounds over time, like
Right.
that's a principle that applies to finances. You know, if you save money starting when you're young, and then by the time you get old, like you're going to have a pile, you know,
Right.
and it builds on itself. That same principle applies to your actions and who you want to become as a person, you know. And so, do you have someone that you're looking toward, or do you have somebody that's ahead of you that you're looking at and going, I want to have attributes that are similar? Yeah. And do you know how to kind of put some action steps together to where you begin to kind of take on those attributes? You know, that it doesn't just happen. Like, you got to think through it, you know. So what kind of man you want to be? You know, who do you want to be, you know, for yourself? Who do you want to be for your family? Who do you want to be for others? You know, how do you want others? Do you want to be that dependable guy that people know that, hey, when he says he's going to do something, he does it. He doesn't overextend himself. He follows through with tough life circumstances, you know, like that those attributes don't just occur, you know. So my hope is that, you know, we you and I are able, along with the guests, you know, that are coming on, to sit here and inspire guys to say, hey, like, be more than what the world will just say, okay, yeah, it's okay to be, you know.
Yeah.
Like, strive for excellence. Excellence is hard. It takes work.
Yeah.
But it's also pretty awesome, you know, when you sit there and you're like, I'm excellent at fill in the blank, you know. So I'm hoping, you know, that's the impact that we have on folks.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like you're either mindful of stuff and you have a fighting chance, or you just get, I mean, life's like a, you know, crazy ocean. I mean, just tossing you around. And I feel like when you're mindful of things and you try to, you know, shape things with intentionality, it's like having a raft and being able to, you know, now you can kind of get over the waves and stuff like that. Whereas, you know, if you're not mindful and you're just kind of letting life happen to you, you're just gonna get, you know, thrown all around. You know, I feel like if you have a plan and you attach some discipline to it, it's like, you know, being able to wrestle the waves a little bit, because you have some control because you're already doing something about it. So, but yeah, I mean, that's to me, it's just important to, you know, encourage people to take that on, you know. So,
That's good.
yeah. You got anything else?
No, man, I'm just pumped. You know, we're going to keep on doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And hope that guys get something out of it. And, you know, as far as the goals side of things, you know, put an action plan together and focus on consistency with it. You know, repetition is key.
Yeah. Yeah, I second all that. You know, if you are setting goals and stuff, you know, be encouraged, you know, stay on top of it, you know, even if you misstep or whatever, get off a little bit, just keep trying again, man. Just keep going at it, you know, because that's the only way you're going to get it, if you just keep trying. So, but yeah, as always, y'all can reach out to us at Masculine Revolution. Like I said, I hope y'all send us some topics and maybe even some guests that you'd like to see on here. Like I said, y'all can reach out to us at masculinerevolution@gmail.com, or find us on Facebook, or just come talk to us in person. Until next time.
Join the family.
Yes, sir.